The scorching sand and thorny bushes of the African savanna seemed to swallow the small figure of Maya, a girl of only 4 years old, cruelly abandoned there by her stepfather. Her wide brown eyes reflected a painful bewilderment, unable to fully grasp the danger of her situation. A tall, disabled man, Maya's stepfather, had yanked her from the car and dumped her onto the savanna floor. His face contorted with rage and contempt as he turned back to the vehicle. "You're just a useless burden," he spat, his voice harsh and devoid of any compassion. "Your mother's gone. And now you will be too." With a final, indifferent glance, the man got into the car and drove away, leaving Maya utterly alone in the vast, desolate landscape. Maya looked around, trembling as she stood up, the hot sand burning her bare feet. The absence of her mother's comfort and safety hit her like a devastating wave, and she felt hot tears stream down her cheeks. Not fully understanding what had happened, Maya began to walk, her steps faltering amidst the thorny bushes. She finally found a small acacia tree where she sat, clutching the trunk as if it were her last refuge. Maya's face, her expression filled with a mixture of fear, confusion, and utter loneliness, made her curl her knees to her chest, trying to shield herself from the menacing vastness of the savanna. The scorching heat of the sun beat down on Maya's delicate skin, and she felt an intense thirst building, her throat dry and aching. Every sound around her, the whistling wind, the distant calls of birds, the rustling of leaves seemed to echo with a terrifying intensity, reminding her that she was alone in a hostile world. Maya looked around, her eyes wide with dawning horror, as she tried to comprehend the gravity of her situation. The savanna stretched endlessly around her, and a wave of panic threatened to suffocate her at the prospect of never returning home. The tiny figure of Maya, huddled beneath the meager shade of the tree, surrounded by the inhospitable expanse of the African savanna, abandoned and helpless, found herself facing a desperate fight for survival in a world that seemed to have collapsed around her. Her journey toward hope and rescue had barely begun, and the dangers of the savanna threatened to close in on her with every passing second. As Maya huddled under the small tree, her mind raced for any sign of familiarity or safety in that desolate expanse. It was then, amidst the stifling heat of the savanna, that a new presence caught her attention. In the distance, Maya glimpsed a shadow moving between the bushes, drawing her gaze. As the figure approached, she realized it was a magnificent lion, its golden mane shimmering in the sunlight. Maya's heart pounded with terror, and she shrank back further, her eyes fixed on the slowly approaching animal. However, something in its gait struck the little girl. The lion moved with difficulty, its front paws clearly injured, one dragging slightly. Maya clung to the tree trunk, her small body trembling. She couldn't tear her eyes away from the lion, which continued to approach with slow, wary movements. Despite the fear that gripped her, Maya sensed that the lion didn't seem intent on attacking her. Its expression was strangely peaceful, its eyes observing her with an almost intelligent curiosity. Finally, the lion lay down a few meters away, its gaze fixed on Maya. The little girl took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. Gradually, she felt her fear begin to dissipate, giving way to a strange sense of familiarity. Maya watched the lion intently, noticing its wounds and its apparent fragility despite the size and power it should have possessed. She began to realize that the animal posed no immediate threat. Slowly, the tension between them eased, and Maya felt a tiny spark of courage ignite in her chest. Perhaps in this vast, unknown world, she wasn't entirely alone. Maya and the lion observed each other with a curious stillness, a fragile beginning of a connection forming between them, even if it was just a glimmer of hope amidst the solitude that surrounded them both. As day gave way to dusk, Maya and the injured lion remained close, the little girl finding a strange comfort in the imposing presence of the animal. However, the fragile calm was quickly shattered, when a new threat emerged from the shadows of the savanna. As night fell, the sounds of the savanna transformed. A distant howl echoed through the air, followed by the stealthy rustling of unseen creatures. Maya shrank back, her eyes widening as pairs of glowing eyes appeared in the darkness, slowly approaching. They were hyenas, their dark blotches and sharp teeth visible in the faint moonlight. The pack began to circle the area, their gazes fixed on Maya and the injured lion. The lion, despite its weakened state, struggled to its feet, its roar echoing across the savanna. It lunged towards the hyenas, its claws flashing ferociously, its body radiating a surprising power. The hyenas recoiled, yelping and snarling, but never coming too close. It was as if they recognized the lion's strength, even in its vulnerable condition. Maya watched the scene, clinging to the tree trunk, her heart pounding in her chest. She realized with a shock that the lion was protecting her, driving away the menacing hyenas. In that moment, a silent understanding passed between the little girl and the great feline. Maya understood that despite her own fragility, the lion had become her only defense against the dangers of the night. As the hyenas finally retreated, defeated by the lion's unexpected bravery, Maya felt a wave of gratitude and admiration surge through her small heart. Perhaps, in this hostile world, she wasn't as alone as she thought. With the arrival of dawn, Maya and the injured lion shared a moment of relative calm, after the nocturnal threat of the hyenas. The little girl began to realize that even in the vastness of the savannah, there was a creature she could rely on. As the first rays of sun crested the horizon, Maya felt a sliver more of security. The lion had remained close throughout the night, a silent guardian, and now she could observe it more closely. Despite its wounds, the great feline seemed vigilant, its watchful eyes scanning the surroundings, ready to react to any new danger. Driven by a hesitant curiosity, Maya began to approach the lion, extending a trembling hand towards it. To her surprise, the animal allowed her to touch its injured paw. Observing her with calm, attentive eyes, Maya felt her heart flutter, but she couldn't look away from those golden eyes. It was as if, in that moment, a silent connection was established between them, a mutual understanding that transcended the barriers of species. After the initial contact, the lion struggled to its feet and began to walk, Maya cautiously following. It guided her to an area near a small stream, where it nudged a dry withered fruit towards the little girl. Maya picked up the offering, her gaze filled with surprise and gratitude. She ate it ravenously, feeling her thirst and hunger slightly abated. In that moment, she realized that somehow the lion was taking care of her, protecting her and providing for her basic needs. This revelation forged an even stronger bond between them, a mutual trust that blossomed in the face of the adversity they faced together. Maya knew that despite the apparent gravity of her situation, she wasn't alone. The injured lion had become her only hope for survival in this unforgiving savannah. As the days passed, Maya and the injured lion developed an increasingly deep connection, learning to work together to face the challenges of the savannah. Guided by the lion's instincts, Maya found a small stream where she could quench her thirst and cool off in the scorching heat. Near the water, they also discovered some bushes with berries that the lion helped Maya to gather. Together, they found a temporary shelter under the shade of some rocks, where they protected themselves from the sun and potential predators. Maya felt increasingly safe in the lion's presence, which seemed to watch over and guard her. Maya attentively observed the lion's movements and actions, learning to avoid dangerous areas and to locate essential resources for their survival. She tried to imitate its gestures, such as lapping water and pawing at the earth in search of roots and fruits. The lion, in turn, seemed to understand the little girl's needs and guided her with patience, its protective instinct becoming increasingly prominent. For the first time since being abandoned, Maya began to feel less terrified and more confident. The lion's presence made her feel secure, as if she were no longer facing this hostile world alone. She would huddle close to the great feline during the night, sheltered by the warmth of its body, and lulled by the soft sound of its breathing. For the first time since her mother's departure, Maya experienced a sense of belonging and of having someone to rely on in this inhospitable environment. Maya and the lion had found each other, forming an unlikely but strong alliance to face the challenges of the savannah together. They were discovering the strength of cooperation, and the importance of each other for their survival. While Maya and the injured lion built their fragile, but promising partnership in the savannah, a new threat emerged, this time from a source the little girl could never have imagined. Armed men appeared in the savannah, their vehicles kicking up clouds of dust as they approached. Maya and the lion immediately sensed the danger, instinctively hiding among the rocks and dense vegetation. The hunters seemed to be tracking the area, their sharp eyes scanning the terrain for any prey. Maya clung to the lion, her small fingers tangled in its mane, as both struggled to remain concealed. Thinking quickly, Maya tried to gesture to the lion, indicating that it should hide further among the rocks. To her surprise, the animal seemed to understand her signal, and squeezed into a narrow crevice, out of sight of the hunters. Maya hid in a nearby bush, her heart pounding in her chest as she watched the armed men draw closer, scouring the area. She knew she needed to think of something to distract them, and protect both herself and the lion. The hunters soon noticed signs of the lion's presence, finding some of its paw prints in the sand. Their search intensified, and they began to spread out, increasing the likelihood of discovering Maya. The little girl felt panic seize her heart. She knew that if they found the injured lion, they would likely kill it. Desperate, Maya began to look for something used to divert the hunter's attention. In that moment, the lives of Maya and the lion depended on her ability to think fast and create a distraction that would keep them safe from this human threat. The savannah, once a place of survival, now concealed a danger even greater than any wild animal. As Maya and the injured lion hid, desperately trying to evade the hunters, an unexpected providence appeared from the sky, bringing the hope that they would finally be rescued. Suddenly, the sound of a helicopter sliced through the air, drawing the attention of the hunters. An environmental conservation team had arrived in the area, responding to reports of illegal hunting activities in the savannah. The armed men, alarmed by the arrival of the protectors, began to scatter. Fearing identification and arrest, Maya watched the scene with a mixture of relief and apprehension, knowing that her chance of being rescued had finally arrived. As the protectors approached, Maya emerged from her hiding place, her small figure stark against the landscape. She waved frantically, trying to get their attention. As they drew closer, the protectors were astonished to find the little girl alone in the savannah. Maya, despite her tender age, did her best to explain the presence of the injured lion and the need to protect it. Moved by Maya's story, and realizing the importance of safeguarding both the girl and the great feline, the protectors quickly developed a rescue plan. They located the lion hidden among the rocks and carefully sedated it, so that it could be transported to a nature reserve where it would receive the necessary care. Then, they provided immediate shelter and protection for Maya, ensuring her safety. In that moment of relief and hope, Maya felt a weight lift from her small shoulders. She knew that despite all the terror she had experienced, there was now a chance for a new beginning, both for her and for her new friend, the injured lion. As the protectors prepared to transport the lion to the reserve, Maya approached it, her small hands gently touching the paw of the animal that had protected her. "Thank you," Maya murmured, her words filled with profound gratitude. She knew that without the lion's presence and bravery, she probably wouldn't have survived her ordeal in the savannah. The lion looked at her with its golden eyes, seeming to understand what the little girl wanted to express. Maya felt a strong, intangible connection between them, a mutual understanding that transcended the barriers of species. Despite her tender age, Maya was aware that this experience had transformed something within her. She had faced loneliness, fear, and adversity, and in the end found protection and care from an animal that, in the eyes of many, would only be a threat. Maya knew that her journey wasn't over. She would carry with her the memory of that special bond, and the admiration for the lion that had rescued her from despair. That connection would be a driving force for her future. As the protectors took her to a safe environment, Maya cast one last look at the lion, which was being carefully placed in a cage for transport. She promised herself that one day she would return to visit her friend, knowing that both of them now had the opportunity for a fresh start. Maya knew that despite everything she had faced, her journey wasn't over. She would carry with her the lesson that even in the midst of loneliness and despair, the compassion and strength of a living being could make all the difference. Thank you so much for watching until the end of the video. What did you think about the story? Please share your thoughts and feelings about it in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, so you won't miss the next interesting and surprising stories that I will bring. Thank you once again, and see you again.